Have you ever wondered how we clean kegs in a commercial brewery? Come and have a look, son. I'll teach you. I'll tell you, it's boring as fuck. It's got to be done. On the previous video, we did how to fill a keg. A lot of you guys asked how we purge the keg and then fill the keg with CO2. So this video, I'll explain all that. We're lucky enough that a PLC does it for us, and all I have to do is watch. Action. Hello brewers, hello YouTube. Welcome to a keg cleaning day. If you want to be a professional brewer, this is where you'll start as the shit kicker, cleaning the kegs. It's a very important job. Don't be too ashamed to be the shit kicker. I get to be the shit kicker at least once a week. Keeps me grounded and humble. What we got to do, first things first, the same as the uni tank, is we're going to wash off our markings so they don't bake on. So it's just metho. What I also do before I clean all these off, I'll just do a date, and I've got an old school book and I'll count the amount of kegs that we've got. It's a backup for excise reasons. If the computer shits itself, I've got old fashioned pen and paper to save the day. So give them a wipe off. Make sure you got all that permanent marker off. Some guys use stickers, which is a pain in the ass because you got to get the sticker off, but anyway. All right, so this is the keg cleaner. Come around and have a look. It's PLC controlled. So we got keg fix, drain, first rinse, drain, caustic loop, recycle caustic, and then yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory the whole way. The steam, we don't have a steam system, so we've had to modify it to liquid sanitizer. We use peracetic acid 2%. So we've had to modify the back of the keg cleaner with a new pump. So what we've done is directly connected our hot liquor tank to the keg cleaner. And then inside here, it's got a float valve switch. So whenever anything comes out, it'll come from the hot liquor tank. The hot liquor pump is on, and that float switch will move down and let hot liquor in. That's how that works. And then the tank next to it is the caustic tank, and that's got an element in it, and that'll keep the caustic between 70 and 80 degrees Celsius. We've had to put an auxiliary tank on and an extra pump because our system doesn't have steam. We use liquid sanitizer, which is peracetic acid, 2%, so I'll show you that. Pretty straightforward, 270 litre auxiliary tank with peracetic acid as the liquid sanitizer. Also cools the keg back down from the 80 degrees. It's all driven off compressor, so we've got a 15 amp compressor next door. It's good to we've run up an air line the whole way around so we don't have to listen to the compressor all day. So the compressor's in the next unit across. The keg cleaner's loud enough, you don't need to listen to a compressor as well. And then we got CO2 as well, new bottle, and then we have an auxiliary bottle. And if we're cleaning, 50 or 60 kegs, we'll swap these out because when you pull lots of CO2 out, it likes to freeze, it slows down the efficiency. So we've got CO2 purge in the PLC. So back, we've gone from the steam, which we've modified to liquid sanitizer. Then we got the CO2 purge, and then we got the CO2 fill. And it all works off seconds. So all these can be modified and changed to the best outcome at the lowest amount of time, so it's efficient to clean the kegs. What we also do is on the first run, I'll have a test keg, so both dirty, but I'll deconstruct this keg and then we'll have a look inside. So every first run, we'll check that it's cleaned the keg sufficiently. I always pick like a NEPA or something a bit heavier rather than a lager because it's going to have less trub in the keg, and if there was any hop debris that transferred, less of that as well. Yeah, so that's a rundown of how it works, and this is usually where you'll start your career. Maybe after scrubbing around the uni tank feet, then you'll go to this. But that's all right, it's all part of brewing. Cleaning's most of brewing. And it's a really, really important stage of brewing too. That's why we do the breakdown and the test keg, because if your kegs aren't cleaned sufficiently, you're sending it to package, you could be sending it to a client, or you could be in your tap house and you could get an issue from the uni tank to the keg. So it is a very important step. So chin up, Shan. keep at it. All right, let's clean one, eh? All right, let's get started on the first keg. So we'll select our profile. This PLC's got two programs, set 1 and 2. So I'll set it to 1 to start, turn our pumps on, check our CO2's on, and we'll pump it up to about 60, just below 60 pound, feeding in. Start with our test keg. It's a dual keg cleaner, so we've got to have 2 kegs on, otherwise we'll piss caustic and hot liquor out of there as well, same with the CO2. So 2 kegs on, and start. Get our drain out. Everything's hardwired with this as well, so we've got all our connections hardwired, hot liquor tank, drains, CO2 and our air. So that's the drain. Now I'm just going to whack my hand on the keg just so I know I've got hot liquor coming in. We've set our hot liquor tank to 95 degrees. Roughly by the time it gets to the keg, we stay above 80. So that's the plan. So just checking, all you have to do while you're cleaning kegs is just monitor everything. Monitor the PLC, check you've got hot caustic, check everything's working. You listen to things as well, like the changes, the pneumatic changes, match the PLC changes. And so now we're in the caustic loop. We caustic for 1.5 minutes. Total time it takes about 6 minutes for 2 kegs, so we're 3 minutes a keg. And with these keg cleaners, they're quite expensive. In Australia, they'll retail for around $50,000. You can import one from China, which we did, which landed probably cost us 35 grand. So when we first started, this was not an option. So I had made a keg cleaner when we were at the previous site in Scallop Street. It worked just as well as this. It took probably 14 minutes though to wash 2 kegs. So it's inefficient. It used a lot more CO2 as well because it didn't have the push out of the compressed air. So this has got compressed air push out and then CO2 purge and fill. So I didn't have those options, but I built the whole thing probably for $1,500. So that got us started to the point where we were able to clean kegs, package, and then get to this point now where we can use this one. So Claire's a bit worried because of the sound of the keg cleaner that she can't hear me, so I've moved the microphone. We're monitoring. They'll hear. They'll be right, you'll hear. So this is fucking boring, so fast forward. So now we're on our final drain, and now we're going to go across to our sanitizer, our liquid sanitizer. So I'm just going to check that. So that keg would be 85 degrees, easy. So we'll have our pneumatic change and we'll see if it matches our PLC. There's the change. We've got that pump on, and now I can touch that because I've got liquid sanitizer going in. So I've confirmed the sanitizer's gone in. And then what we'll do, we'll go over and we'll check. And there goes our CO2. So now we're doing our CO2 purge. You see we've come down from 60 to 40 pound. So we've confirmed the CO2 purge is happening. We can also see it here. There's the last of the hot liquor right there. So it's still running. And then we got the change to the CO2 fill, which we confirm around the back. So we'll watch that. See we're filling up our kegs. So there's our 1 bar right there. So we know we got 1 bar in, which is about 15 pound, 14.5 pound. And you'll also, when we disconnect like that, you'll know there's PSI in it. So we'll just shut the pumps off for now so I don't have to yell. Leave the heating on. So we'll keep our clean kegs on this side of the keg cleaner so we never mix it up. If you ever think you've mixed up or you have any doubt or think, fuck, I don't know, I think I missed that one, whack it back on. It's not worth it. What we're going to do now is break this down and inspect it. So we're going to release the CO2 out. And again, we've confirmed our pressure that we had CO2 in it. We're going to check we're clean now. Looking good. Spear looks good. Beautiful. Check our O-ring. Looks good. So that's our inspection done. We know we're set, we're right. So from now on, all we're going to do is just monitor what's happening. If the keg wasn't clean, we would make adjustments on anything like, say, maybe our first hot liquor in. We'll do that longer. We might do our caustic loop longer if we have to. So it's a fine line between efficiency and cleaning the keg. So we've confirmed we've cleaned it. It looks great. Tighten that sucker up and she'll go back on. With the next one, pumps on and start the process again. And while that's happening, we're just going to clean the exterior of the keg. Because a good beer is a clean beer. Stack him up with the clean ones. What we'll do now is just monitor the whole process. We'll keep an eye on the liquid sanitizer, keep an eye on the kegs. Like I said, just use your hands, your ears. Check our CO2 goes in each time. So that's how we clean the keg here in a commercial brewery. If you're a home brewer and want to clean a keg, if you just used A-type coupler, put it on, set your pump with a caustic loop and a rinse loop into the top and just run that for a minute or two and then caustic it out and then hot liquor rinse and then just grab your CO2, run it on and you run your CO2 for a minute or two and purge anything out. And then once that's complete, you'll close this valve and fill your keg pressure to whatever you need. Usually 1 bar is perfect, 15 pound, perfect. A single pump and an A-type coupler, that's all you need, and CO2. But it's very important you purge your kegs and fill them with CO2 because you're going to get oxidation in your keg if you just clean it out by hand and don't purge it. Worst case scenario, you can clean them out by hand, but make sure you always purge them. So shake the shit out of it, clean it out, do what you got to do with a bottle brush, however you do it. But the important thing is to purge the keg of any oxygen so it doesn't become dissolved oxygen. And then you want to fill your keg with CO2. And that way you know that, for one, you've got positive pressure in your keg, it's holding. There's no O-ring issues. And then when you counter pressure fill, which I've shown you how to do on a previous video, how to fill a keg. If you want to go back and watch that, it'll show you how to fill a keg using counter pressure. So that's the most important thing really, is your CO2 purge and fill. All right, that's it. That's how you clean a keg in a commercial brewery. Hope it helps. I had no idea how to clean a keg when I started. Now I'm a bit of a pro because I get to do it once a week. Joy, but nah, it's all right. It's a very important part of the brewery and the brewing process. So if you like the vid, give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you want. Cheers for watching. Hooroo. Steam. You got to go through like this. Steam.